Thank you so much for sparing your time today. We would love to use the first short session to introduce Global Loyalty Organization. And then the second session will flow into the panel with the Guillermo Pucciano from Sky Airline, who is the recent member of the Global Loyalty Organization and recently launched quite innovative loyalty program, Sky Plus. So what is Global Loyalty Organization? It's a global association from Canada to New Zealand, uniting the largest loyalty programs across multiple sectors: airlines, airports, hospitality, mobility, e-fuels, and other sectors like payments, for example, or loyalty consultants. We have members, we are quite honored to have the members from 50 plus countries. Star Alliance is our one of founding members. Air France KLM from SkyTeam is our member. Emirates, Turkish Airlines, and the beauty of Global Loyalty Alliance that we have at the same table the previous competitors or frenemies. And the idea is to promote partnerships, cooperation, and innovation and the best practices in loyalty. Currently, Global Loyalty Organization has 4 pillars. We have 24 media channel, which covers all of the loyalty insights, latest reports, surveys on the latest CX, customer engagement, and loyalty news. In United States, you're lucky to have some of media resources to provide insights on loyalty, but globally, especially in emerging markets, Middle East, Asia, Latin America, there is no such resources. So GLO is the only place where you can find what's happening in the loyalty programs across those countries. The second pillar of GLO is the platform for networking. Every our member gets an individual login, and you are able to reach out to the loyalty and CX professionals within the platform to forge partnerships, to find new suppliers, solution suppliers, and to create new innovative loyalty programs. We recently launched a careers and jobs portal. So if you would like to move or you would like to get into different sector, but within the loyalty and customer engagement, that's the place to look for the new position. So now a very quick quiz on what the loyalty actually constitutes and what it doesn't constitute. Imagine you were flying from London to Miami on the basic economy flight, and you were choosing between 3 fares. The prices, this is actually real fares for this week on that route from 3 quite big airlines. Imagine, so your cost will consist of the fare that you paid, and as a bonus, you will receive some miles from these airlines. The fares are quite similar, running between, let's say, $650, $649 to $701. The miles awarded are based on the current loyalty program of these 3 very large US airlines. And then the way we calculate the total price to you as a customer is the fare minus the loyalty. So if I can quiz you, what typically the customer would pick if it was purely economic decision? Probably the option number 1, the offer number 1, because it is the cheapest and economical, rational decision to the customer. Does this mean that this decision will be based on loyalty? No, because the loyalty program consideration was involved in this decision, but the decision was made on purely economic grounds. There was no brand affinity. There was no value consideration in this case. Imagine that we have the second option. And in this case, exactly same 3 airlines, but 2 fares have the same price, $594 back to the customer to be paid. And the third offer is slightly cheaper. So we already established with you that if the person goes purely for the cheapest option, there is nothing to do with loyalty. It doesn't constitute any loyalty to the airline. But where the loyalty actually is based is when your fare is either same or more expensive, and you as a customer is willing to pay that premium with your affinity to this airline, be it brand, be it values, or be it sustainability efforts of this airline, but it's not purely rational economic decision. To some extent, loyalty is very similar to the marriage. Who is married in this room? If it's possible to raise your hand. Okay, quite a few. So do you remember the most important phrase when you're actually giving vows? And the phrase is for better or worse. So in this case, loyalty is very similar to the marriage because you are not going for the cheapest and the easiest solution, but you're actually going for some values. You express your values in that relationship. And that's why the loyalty is fundamentally emotional, personal, and reflects your values. I have to say that the current statistics shows that 70% of G7 marriages end up in divorce. So don't take your loyalty partner for granted. And with this, I will pass to my co-founder, Dilek.
Thank you. And as Anastasia just said, loyalty is based on true emotions. And there's actually the phrase, rewards-based or points-based loyalty is transactional. True loyalty is emotional because everybody has their own preferences. Everybody has their own personal reasons why selecting one brand or another. For you, as brands, as airlines, the question is, how do you actually establish that emotional connection with your member, with your customer, to have long-lasting emotional connection and repeat business? There has been a lot of research done with consumers to see, the impact of emotional loyalty. And actually, it shows that over 80% of consumers who were asked, they said if they had an emotional connection to a brand, they would actually prefer that brand over any other brand when they're making purchase decisions. Another survey showed that nearly 90% of members or customers who had an emotional affinity to a brand said they were very happy to be brand ambassadors so that they would recommend this brand to their friends and family. And this really shows the importance of this emotional connection of a brand with their consumers. The last point here is actually have loyalty brands recognize this. So there was a survey done at the end of last year where over 500 brands and loyalty programs and loyalty experts were asked to give 3 predictions what is going to drive loyalty in the coming years and what were brands focusing on. The first one, which everybody said, was experience-based rewards, because to have the true emotional connection, we have moved on from pure transactional-based to experiences. You want to give the experience, the once-in-a-lifetime experience, to create this buzz with your members. The second one is personalization. And again, to have the tailor-made experiences, you need to personalize. Without knowing your customer, you can't give them the experiences they are looking for. And gamification is just another way of experience because it's your daily interaction with your member that they play, they have an emotional connection, and they repeat, and they have the daily interaction with you. And this is something which is actually very interesting because we always think that experiences is something which is a recent trend, but actually it's not. We have data going back over 60 years where the US Bureau of Statistics and together with McKinsey, they've analyzed this data. They're looking at consumer spend. And in fact, since the 60s, the spending on things, on items, has been decreasing, whereas the spending on experiences has been increasing steadily. And there was a dip during COVID as people were not allowed to leave their homes, so experiences suffered, but it has bounced back. And in fact, since COVID, expectations, consumer expectations have changed. They're no longer happy with the basic experience. They want the icing on the cake. They want the connection. They want to be able to identify with the brand, and they want to be proud of the brand. And this is something I would like to share with you. It's Maslow's pyramid, but we linked it to loyalty. So your psychological or physiological basic needs for an airline, what is it? It's your seats. So you have a seat on the plane. It's clean. It's comfortable. In a hotel, it's the sleep quality. It's the beds. Safety. Next one. Obviously, you want to be safe when you're traveling on the plane, and also when you're booking. So that's the sort of essentials. You want it to be easy, and you want contactless services. Then the next step on the social level, you want some personalization, i.e. when you get on the plane, that you're greeted, smiling face, you're served nicely, and that people recognize you. So if you're a frequent flyer, if you're a member of an airline, and they come and greet you by your name, saying, nice to see you again on board, that all creates that emotional connection. And as we move up the chain, so the self-esteem and then self-actualization, which is the icing on the cake, basically, this is where your true emotional connection comes. So younger generation, for example, they're much more conscious when it comes to sustainability. So at Global Loyalty Organization, we do an annual survey with our members where we interview heads of loyalty. And something which has come up in interviews again and again is like, with the younger generation, for example, they don't want to be recognized, some of them, as frequent flyers when they're flying with their friends, because they think, actually, it's not very environmentally friendly, so I don't want to be seen as traveling a lot, so please don't do that. So it's knowing your customer, it's knowing how to approach them. And then the personalized experience, the icing on the cake, when you know your customer, you know what they want, and you interact with them tailored to their expectations and needs. And this is a slide I wanted to share with you. So what do customers want? This is something we took from one of our hotel members who said, our travelers want the room that doesn't exist. Because what they have noticed is that with the younger generation, especially with social media, they want it on Instagram. They want it to be, Instagrammable. So they moved the whole room. They rearranged the room so that they have the view. So, and then the cleaning service comes in and the room is all rearranged. So they were saying, as a provider, we actually need to think a bit further, not just from an architectural point of view, but what do our customers want? And it's the same with the airlines. What do your travelers want? It's obviously the basic needs, everybody has that, but what can you offer on top of that to create that unique experience? And just to give you an example, Middle Eastern airlines are very, very good at that. They have, for example, the pickup service. So if you are flying a certain class or if you are a certain status, they have a driver come and pick you up from home, bring you to the airport, you speed through, check in, and then at the end, somebody's picking you up, bringing you to your destination. So this door-to-door seamless connection, which then, obviously, if you were picking, as Anastasia was saying, if you're picking one airline over another, obviously you would pick the one which makes you feel special, which treats you well.
Yeah, and that's actually, Dilek, perfectly. That links to this previous quiz that we did. So hospitality, in this sense, is a bit ahead of the airlines, and they're really piggybacking on the social media influencers trend. And currently, for example, one of our members of Global Loyalty Organization, Global Hotel Alliance, majority of their bookings is on mobile devices. It's not web-based. And we are talking about ultra-luxury 5-star hotels. They're booked through mobile device, through the leads from Instagram, social media, and influencers. So one lesson, to airline sector from other sectors is that you need to start much more aggressively employing this social media to trigger the sales point. And the people would be willing to pay that extra premium, let's say between 10 to 30% that we showed in the quiz.
And what's more interesting here is actually, look at this picture. This is when you create a program. This is your design. You think this is the experience, but actually think about what the user experiences. So what the user experiences might not be what you think they're experiencing. So this is why it is really important to understand your customer. So this brings us to the technology point of view. So data analytics. So data analytics, not only data analytics, but predictive data analytics. Airlines sit on a huge, vast database, and they need to utilize this to segment their customers. And we heard earlier from Air Canada presentation that they actually know and follow their customer, and they offer them personalized, trips, vouchers, or offers on their plane tickets. So every airline has the ability to do it. The problem which most airlines face is that they have legacy systems. They haven't implemented the data analytics yet, but this is the trend which we're seeing. And one of our trends is, towards 2040. So where are we going to be in 20 years, 15 years? And this is where generative AI, ChatGPT comes in. We had the question earlier in one of the panels as well, that people are nowadays planning their trips with ChatGPT. And so basically what is happening is that the younger generation, they're going somewhere, they're saying, okay, I want to go to this place. What shall I do? How shall I plan my trip? And then based on that, they go and book. But it's not only, so that's the first step. But the next step for the airlines is actually have a super app. So not just sell the tickets. So yesterday I was listening to another panel where they're talking about, the ancillary revenue for airlines. And one of the panelists said that the airline of the future, to survive, they can't just be selling tickets. They need to sell the overall package. Easier said than done, because it involves many steps and it involves partnerships. And this is why partnerships and building the ecosystem are becoming more and more important. You can't just be isolated, siloed in your little segment. You have to build partnerships, and you have to innovate your technology, your app. You have to be able to give that seamless experience from the moment they book to the end destination. And that is not just flying, that is also depending where you're going, for example, where's the best restaurant, using geolocation. One of the airlines, for example, what they do is they use geo-trackers in your app. So when you're at an airport and they have, let's say, an agreement with Starbucks, it pops up in your app saying, okay, your flight is in 40 minutes. You've got some time. Go and grab a coffee. Here's Starbucks. You can actually spend your miles there. So it's this, engaging your members, engaging your customers, and ultra personalization. Because if I'm not a coffee drinker and the app tells me to grab a coffee, it's not going to be any use for me. So because they have the data, the airlines know exactly how you spend, where you travel, you can personalize. And this is one tool which is going to be increased in use over the years. And then lastly, gamification and tokenization. Gamification is something which a lot of programs have been dabbling with. It's increasing. So gamification can be, for example, you will hear later from Sky Airline what they are doing with their gamification. But one of the things they do is you can, for example, in your app, there's one airline I fly with frequently. They have a game in the app, and I have to find 3 things in this game. And then I get, depending on my speed, I get points, I get miles, which then I can spend during my travel, which is a great thing because it's once a week. So once a week, I log in, play my little game, get my miles. But it doesn't have to be like playing on the app. You can also set targets. You can also have like, say, okay, a flight challenge. Go to these places, and then you can get a special token. You can get rewarded, or you can have, a badge, like a traveler badge, which you can show to your friends. So tokenization is one thing. For example, Lufthansa, Qatar Airways, Etihad, with the NFTs. It's like the next technology, blockchain, to engage with your customers and become a collectible, not just a mile, but something collectible, something which you can use physically, you can exchange. So that this is the next step, and this is where we think that airline loyalty is moving to.
And I think, just to add, before we wrap up and move to Sky Air, this last 2 technologies, gamification and tokenization, it actually touches upon 3 critical pillars of loyalty. It's personalized, it is emotional, it triggers the immediate action, and it's rewarding, because in both cases there is some value provided, and these are three fundamentals of loyalty.
Thank you. But any questions from the